Right now is a really interesting time to look at Africa as an investment opportunity because there's so many dynamics, change happening there that I encourage all investors to look at the continent in this time. It's still a bit wild frontier in many people's minds, but if you go and visit and you actually talk to the entrepreneurs on the ground, you'll see the incredible intelligence, wisdom, passion, effectiveness, the business models that are changing the face of Africa. They're there and they need capital to grow, but there's no dearth of opportunity. I just highly encourage you to go and see it for yourself because it's quite powerful when you're there in person and you can talk to the people on the ground making these incredible companies happen. The social problem that Copia is solving is if you look at about 1 billion people in Africa, so about 90% of the population, they have quite limited access to the basic goods that you and I consider easy to access. We have choice, we have all kinds of sources to get whatever goods we need to run our households. We pay reasonable prices, we can price compare, but these 1 billion people in Africa have really limited access to the basic goods they need to run their households, their day-to-day lives. And so Copia is an e-commerce business where we serve middle and low-income Africans. We're currently in Kenya, and we basically bring to the villages in Africa all the basic goods that they need to run their lives. The way Copia works is we go out to a village in Africa and we find an existing shopkeeper who's running a small kiosk selling a handful of things, and we train them to be a Copia agent. And then we give them a tablet device that has the Copia app on it, and then they, as customers come and go from their little shop from the village, they shop on the Copia app, just like we shop on Amazon.com or other e-commerce services. And then the order comes back to Copia through that device. We fulfill the orders in our fulfillment center in the city, and then we deliver within about 2 days to that agent shop. The customer then gets a text message saying, come get your goods, and they show up at the agent shop to pick up their goods. So in places where there's no internet, there are no addresses, there's lots of muddy roads, and fairly small wallet sizes, we've been able to bring the power of e-commerce to transform their lives. The major challenge that we had to overcome in starting Copia was trust. It's the most important thing in building a commercial relationship with an end consumer in Africa. In our Western world, there are regulations and rules of law and systems in place, there are repercussions if you transact with another person and it doesn't work out. In Africa, there are a lot fewer ways to protect yourself as a consumer, so you have to be very cautious about who you do business with. And so therefore, building trust was a really important thing for Copia to do right away. And once we build that trust with the end consumer, then we have a loyal relationship for life, and we can bring that end consumer all kinds of products and services that can better their lives. In looking for investors, we look for a couple of things. One, investors who understand how East Africa works on the ground, have experience on the ground. Two, that they are patient and understand that this is a long-term big business that we're building that requires some patient capital. Third, we look for investors who have some background expertise that are relevant to Copia that can help us to build the business. We're definitely a more hands on deck is better kind of attitude. So, and then I think fourth and equally importantly, because we're going to be growing across all of Africa and needing capital as we enter each market, we're going to need a lot more capital going forward. So introductions to other investors to to help us grow in our investor base as we grow is an important quality.